Picture this. Rome, 565 AD. You're standing near the Pincian Gate. The stones are cold. The crowd is indifferent. And there, sitting in the mud, is a blind beggar clutching a wooden bowl. He isn't pleading. He isn't begging for mercy. He's collecting a debt. He lifts his scarred face toward the passing crowd and whispers 5 words that will echo through history. Date obolum Belisario. Give a penny to Belisarius. Look closer. That shaking hand once held a sword that reconquered Africa and Italy. Those clouded, bandaged eyes once surveyed battlefields across 3 continents. This is Flavius Belisarius, the man who saved Western civilization, reduced to a roadside curiosity, begging for scraps in the very city he rescued. This isn't just the story of a fallen general. This is the ultimate cold case of history. How did the Roman Empire destroy its last true hero? Before we crack open the files on this ancient betrayal, if you want the brutal truths they skipped in your textbooks, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, do you think loyalty is a virtue or a trap? Now rewind 40 years. Constantinople, 527 AD. The Western Roman Empire is dead, carved apart by barbarians. The East is all that's left, and it's barely holding together. This isn't a golden age. It's an age of paranoia. Every general is a suspect. Every success is dangerous. A peasant-turned emperor named Justinian seizes the throne. He dreams big, reconquering the lost Roman world. But dreams don't win wars. Armies do. And Justinian doesn't have one he can trust. So he finds a weapon. Belisarius is 25 years old. He isn't a noble. He isn't a politician. He's a killer with a conscience. He rises through the imperial bodyguard the hard way, by drilling his men until they vomit, not by bribing officials. He builds his own private regiment, the Bucellari, heavy cavalry who can fire arrows like Huns and charge like knights. They're loyal to him, only him. That loyalty makes Belisarius invaluable. It also paints a target on his back. His first assignment is a death sentence. Justinian sends him east to face the Sassanid Persian Empire, the superpower of the age. The Persians have better armor, deeper coffers, and an army that hasn't lost a pitched battle to Rome in a generation. Belisarius marches to the fortress of Dara with 25,000 men. The Persians arrive with 40,000. Their commander, Perozes, takes one look at the Roman force and laughs. He sends a message dripping with contempt. Prepare my bath. I'll sleep in your bed tonight. Belisarius doesn't reply with insults. He grabs a shovel. He orders his men to dig, but not walls, not ramparts. He carves a jagged, U-shaped trench system into the desert floor. A kill zone. Infantry in the center, ordered not to advance. Cavalry hidden behind the wings. Every rule of Roman warfare is violated. When you're outnumbered, you retreat. You don't dig holes. The Persians attack. Arrows darken the sky. Roman shields lock together. The trench holds the Persian infantry at bay. Perozes grows impatient. He unleashes his elite heavy cavalry, the Immortals, straight at the Roman left. The ground shakes. Thousands of armored horses slam into the line. The Romans buckle. The Persians roar in triumph, surging through the gap. And then the trap closes. Belisarius signals. From behind a ridge, hidden Hun cavalry smash into the exposed Persian flank. At the same moment, Belisarius unleashes his Bucellari. The hunters become the hunted. Persian formations dissolve. Panic spreads like fire. 8,000 Persians die in the sand. Belisarius doesn't win with brute force. He wins with geometry, with patience, with arrogance turned against itself. News hits Constantinople like lightning. A Roman general has defeated Persia. The streets erupt with cheers. But inside the palace, the sound is colder. Justinian studies his map. Then he looks at his wife, Empress Theodora. They understand the danger immediately. A man who can outthink an empire can overthrow one. Belisarius thinks he's won the war. He's wrong. He's only survived the opening round, because when he returns, Constantinople is a city ready to explode. January 532 AD. The capital is no longer a city. It's a furnace. For days, the streets echo with a single chant. Nika, victory. The chariot racing factions, the blues and the greens, normally kill each other over horse races. Now, crushed by taxes and police brutality, they're united, and their target is Emperor Justinian. They burn the city brick by brick. The original Hagia Sophia goes up in flames. Smoke blots out the Bosphorus. Tens of thousands surround the palace, crowning a new emperor and demanding blood. Inside, Justinian is shaking. He orders the treasury loaded onto ships. He's ready to flee into exile and let his capital burn. The Senate agrees. The generals agree. Even the guards hesitate. One person refuses. Empress Theodora steps forward. She doesn't shout. She speaks with the calm certainty of someone who clawed her way up from nothing and refuses to go back. Her words cut the room open. Those who have worn the crown should never survive its loss. If you wish to flee, Caesar, the ships are ready. But as for me, I stay. Royal purple makes the finest shroud. Justinian freezes. Shame hits harder than fear. The ships are cancelled. He turns to Belisarius. Until now, Belisarius has fought foreign enemies. Now Justinian points toward the Hippodrome, where 30,000 rioters celebrate their rebellion. The order is unspoken. Cleanse it. Belisarius marches with his veterans, the men who broke Persia, against bakers, shoemakers, citizens armed with clubs. The gates are locked from the outside. What follows isn't a battle. It's an execution. For hours, Roman discipline grinds through the crowd. Hack, step, hack, step. When the sun sets, 30,000 citizens lie dead. Belisarius returns to the palace. The throne is safe. But Justinian no longer fears the mob. Now he fears his general. And to keep that weapon far from the throne, Justinian decides to aim it somewhere else. Somewhere distant. Somewhere dangerous. He points to Africa. Africa. 533 AD. The Mediterranean is no longer a Roman lake. For nearly a century, North Africa, the empire's breadbasket, has belonged to the Vandals. History remembers them as barbarians who sacked Rome and gave us the word vandalism. But the kingdom Belisarius sails toward isn't a wasteland of mud huts. It's a pirate empire drowning in gold. King Gelimer rules from Carthage. His fleets dominate the sea lanes. His coffers overflow with wealth looted from Rome itself. Justinian gives Belisarius 15,000 men to retake a continent. The critics howl. The supply lines are too long. The Vandal navy will sink them before they ever reach shore. It's suicide. Belisarius ignores them. He knows what they don't. The Vandals have grown soft. 2 generations of easy living in Roman villas have dulled their edge. These aren't wolves anymore. They're landlords. The Roman fleet lands quietly on the Tunisian coast. The soldiers are starving. Orchards heavy with fruit surround them. Discipline cracks. Men begin stealing apples, trampling vines. Belisarius reacts instantly. He doesn't shout. He executes the looters. He gathers the army around the bodies and delivers a message that changes the entire campaign. We are not here to conquer these people. We are here to liberate them. If you steal from a Roman citizen, you're no better than a vandal. It's a masterstroke. The local population, brutally oppressed by the Arian Vandals, opens its arms. Markets appear. Supplies flow. Instead of fighting a hostile countryside, Belisarius buys loyalty with discipline. He marches on Carthage not as an invader, but as a returning sheriff. Gelimer panics. He rushes to intercept Belisarius at the 10th milestone near Ad Decimum. The battle is chaos. Hills, dust, confusion. For a moment, the Vandals are winning. They smash the Roman vanguard. Victory is right there. All Gelimer has to do is press forward. Then he sees his brother's body lying in the dirt. Grief paralyzes him. While the Vandal king mourns, Belisarius rallies. He counterattacks with brutal precision. The hesitation becomes a grave. The Vandal army collapses. Gelimer flees into the mountains. Belisarius walks into Carthage. The gates are open. The shops are open. Dinner is still warm in the palace. He sits on Gelimer's throne and eats the meal prepared for the Vandal king. In less than 6 months, he has erased a kingdom that terrorized Rome for 100 years. The treasure is unimaginable. Gold stolen from Rome generations earlier. Belisarius ships every coin back to Constantinople. A triumph follows. The people go wild. Gelimer is paraded in chains. They chant Belisarius's name. Watch Justinian's face. The smile is tight. He offers Belisarius a choice. Stay in Africa as governor or return to the capital. It's a test. Stay, and he builds a power base. Return, and he proves submission. Belisarius returns. He dumps the gold at Justinian's feet. Once again, he chooses loyalty. Justinian exhales, but doesn't relax. Africa was only the appetizer. Now he wants the main course. Italy. 536 AD, Belisarius marches into Rome. But this isn't the Rome of emperors and marble crowds. The population has collapsed from 1 million to 50,000. It's a ghost city, living inside the corpse of a giant. Belisarius enters as a custodian, not a conqueror. He has 5,000 men to defend 12 miles of ancient walls. The Ostrogoths are coming. Their king, Witiges, marches south with an army so large it blots out the horizon. Even if the numbers are exaggerated, Belisarius is outnumbered at least 15 to 1. Witiges strikes first. He cuts the aqueducts. The baths go dry. The fountains die. The sewers stop flushing. Rome begins to stink of panic and disease. Without water-powered mills, the city faces starvation. Belisarius doesn't pray. He engineers. He anchors ships in the Tiber River and fits them with millstones turned by the current. Floating watermills grind grain. Bread returns. The city eats. So Witiges attacks. Siege towers taller than the walls rumble forward, dragged by oxen. Roman defenders tremble. Belisarius stands on the wall with a bow. He fires. A Gothic officer drops. Another arrow. Another falls. Then he gives an order that sounds insane. Shoot the oxen. The towers grind to a halt. The Gothic infantry is exposed. The defense holds. For 374 days, Rome endures. Inside the walls, people eat dogs, mules, grass between stones. Citizens beg Belisarius to surrender. He refuses. Finally, disease and hunger break the Gothic camp. Witiges retreats. Rome survives, but at a cost. The aqueducts will never fully recover. The classical way of life dies here, and while Belisarius bleeds for Rome, Constantinople rots with jealousy. Justinian sends no reinforcements. He sends spies. He sends Narcissus, not to help, but to watch. Sensing division, the Goths make an offer. They don't want to surrender to Justinian. They want to surrender to Belisarius. They offer him the crown of the Western Empire. 540 AD Ravenna. The city is a natural fortress, surrounded by marshes, impossible to storm. But the Goths are tired. They respect strength, and Belisarius has beaten every army they sent. Secret messengers slip out at night, open the gates, take the treasury, become emperor. With one word, Belisarius could revive the Western Roman Empire. He has the army. He has the love of the people. He has the enemy's submission. So he accepts. The gates open, the Romans march in. Once the walls, granaries, and treasury are secured, Belisarius drops the mask. There is only one emperor, he declares, Justinian. The Goths are stunned. The war is over, without another Roman death. Belisarius sails home expecting a hero's welcome. The docks are silent. Justinian doesn't care that Belisarius refused the crown. He cares that it was offered. In the mind of a paranoid ruler, the fact that Belisarius could have been emperor is the crime. Justinian confiscates the Gothic treasury. He takes the captive king. He dissolves Belisarius's personal army. He forbids public celebration of the victory. No triumph, no parade. The greatest conquest of a generation is erased by decree. Belisarius is sidelined. He walks the streets of Constantinople as a private citizen, recognized by everyone, empowered by no one. The most famous man alive, stripped of command, soldiers, and purpose. Then nature strikes harder than any army. 542 AD, a grain ship arrives from Egypt. In its hold, hidden in the fur of black rats, rides death itself. The plague erupts. Fever, hallucinations, then the swellings, black buboes in the groin and armpits. Bodies rot from the inside out. Constantinople becomes a morgue. People collapse while buying bread. Priests die mid-prayer. The death toll explodes, thousands per day. Graves run out. Bodies are stacked in towers, loaded onto ships, dumped into the sea. And then the unthinkable happens. Justinian catches the plague. The emperor falls into a coma. The government freezes. Law dissolves. Power passes to one person, Empress Theodora. She knows the vultures are circling. She hears the rumors. 2 generals are said to be whispering that if Justinian dies, the army, not the palace, will choose the next emperor. One of those names is Belisarius. It doesn't matter whether he said it. To Theodora, the danger is real enough. She strikes first. Orders fly east. Belisarius is stripped of command. His butulari, the men who bled with him in Persia, Africa, and Italy, are scattered. His wealth is confiscated. He is recalled to Constantinople and placed under guard. Not executed, something worse. He is left alive. For months, Belisarius sits in his own home, waiting. Every knock could be the executioner. Friends vanish. Senators cross the street to avoid him. His own historian writes that the once great general becomes a trembling wreck, shattered by fear. Theodora spares him for one reason. Antonia, Belisarius's wife, is Theodora's closest ally. She begs for his life. The empress relents, on one condition. Belisarius lives, but only as a man who owes everything to his wife and the throne. The hero is domesticated. Meanwhile, Italy collapses. From the ruins of the Gothic defeat rises a new leader. Totila, young, brilliant, disciplined. He treats prisoners well. He lowers taxes. He forbids looting. He fights like Belisarius once did. 544 AD, Belisarius is sent back to Italy. Look closely at the man stepping off the ship. His hair is gray, his shoulders sag. He has no legions, no treasury, no butulari. Justinian wants Italy, but not a victorious Belisarius, so he sends him without tools. Belisarius scrapes together volunteers, starving peasants who've never held a spear. He pays them from his own pocket. Totila, meanwhile, sweeps through Italy, welcomed by cities exhausted by Roman corruption. The irony is suffocating. For 5 years, Belisarius fights a ghost war. Small raids, coastal fortresses, endless letters begging for aid. One survives. "I have arrived in Italy without men, horses, arms, or money. A man cannot wage war without supplies." Justinian never replies. The tragedy peaks at Rome. The city is besieged. Inside, the commander hoards grain and lets the poor starve. Belisarius launches a daring river assault up the Tiber. He's minutes from saving the city. Then his subordinates disobey orders. The attack fails. Belisarius collapses into fever. Rome falls. Totila plans to erase it, to turn the eternal city into pasture. From his sickbed, Belisarius sends one final message, not as a general, but as a guardian of history. To destroy Rome is to destroy the greatest monument of humanity. Preserve it, and your name will shine. Totila listens. Rome is spared, but abandoned. Empty for the first time in 1,000 years. Wind through the forum. Dogs in the streets. Belisarius returns and rebuilds the walls with his own hands. It's symbolic, futile. In 549 AD, Justinian recalls him, not to honor him, but to replace him. The war drags on, eventually won by Narses with the massive army Belisarius was always denied. Belisarius retires. He thinks it's over. Then the Huns come. 559 AD, Kutriger Huns cross the frozen Danube and race toward Constantinople. The capital panics. There is no army. Justinian is old and terrified, so he remembers the old man. Belisarius is summoned. He asks for nothing. He puts on his helmet. His army is pitiful. Gray-haired veterans and frightened peasants. 7,000 Hun cavalry face them. Belisarius chooses theater. Dust clouds, campfires, noise, chaos. The Huns panic and retreat. Constantinople is saved without a battle. The people cheer. In the palace, the cheers sound like a threat. 3 years later, a conspiracy is discovered. The evidence is thin. The confessions tortured out. One name is whispered: Belisarius, 562 AD. The trial is a farce. He's accused of corruption, the man who returned entire treasuries untouched. Witnesses point. Friends stay silent. He is found guilty, not executed, erased, titles stripped, property seized, house arrest. Legend says he was blinded. History says something worse. He was ignored. After months, Justinian restores his freedom, but the man who emerges is hollow. The fire is gone. People bow, not in awe, but pity. March 565. AD. Belisarius dies quietly at his estate. No funeral, no monument. 8 months later, Justinian follows. Within 3 years, Italy is lost again. The dream collapses. Belisarius is remembered as the last Roman, not because he won, but because he believed. He had the power to rule. He refused. In a world that rewarded ambition, he chose loyalty, and that choice destroyed him.